Start.
You're listening to the Theology of Games podcast, your source for gaming news, reviews, and interviews with the top voices in the industry. Find us online at theologyofgames.com. And now, here are your hosts, Scott Firestone and Jeremiah Iiiiiiceeee.
All right, let's start. Hey, everybody. This is Theology of Games, the live version of the podcast. I'm Jeremiah Iiiiiceeee, and if I can point to
I'm
you
Scott
on the screen.
Firestone.
There he is. That's Scott Firestone. We are Theology of Games. In case you don't know who we are a board gaming blog / website / podcast / I don't know, whatever else we do. YouTube. We mess around with Periscope every now and then and all of that. But
He does.
I do most of that, yes.
Yeah.
Have you figured that out, like, which way do I have to point to? It's going to switch later on, too. It's going to really mess you up. Anyway, so we thought we'd give it a shot here. We're using some cool new software that we can broadcast on Twitch. And we thought we'd start doing live podcasts instead of just recording them. We're kind of doing it on the fly. And let's talk about what Theology of Games is. Do you want to go ahead and give them the lowdown on Theology of Games?
Yeah, so Jeremiah and I met at a youth ministry conference, and we both work in youth ministry. And then we had this love of board games, and we thought, hey, what if we start a blog? And the idea, we called it Theology of Games, but the truth is we don't talk about theology that much. But it's basically we have news, reviews, interviews, and all those sort of things. And we, if it's applicable, we run it through the filter of our faith. So we might play a game where there's something that kind of pushes up against our faith, and we feel compelled to mention it. And we're not gonna rail against things. But if there's something that we think, oh, I wouldn't advise a family to play this game because of X, Y, or Z, we will tell you why. And it's basically saying, hey, we came together through youth ministry and we have this common faith, and other people who have that same faith might want to talk about board games with us. It doesn't come up that often, but it's kind of the vehicle we use.
Yeah. I just think it's one of those things. It kind of just reflects who we are. We're men of faith. We're Christians who also like to game a lot. So we talk about games in the same way that we would talk about movies or music or anything like that. If there's something that pushes against what we believe or just kind of stirs something up in us that we need to discuss a little further, we kind of do that. And I think that's kind of the main goal that we've discovered is we just want to enjoy the hobby that we enjoy, but also kind of push up against things that might be, I don't want to say offensive to us, but might just rub us the wrong way or give us cause to pause and discuss those things. So it's a little bit of who we are and what we're here doing. But let's jump right into the news. What do you say?
I say there's a bombshell this week.
There totally is a bombshell. It was crazy.
So Asmodee has been growing and growing and growing.
Yes.
They've been buying up other companies, small and large. They bought Days of Wonder. They bought, who's the other big one they just bought? Fantasy Flight.
Yes.
So Fantasy Flight. And then they've also been picking up smaller things like Spot It. I'm sure a lot of people have played Spot It. It's a family favorite, super easy non-gamer game. They bought that too. And then this week, there was the news that they bought the rights to sell Catan in North America.
Yeah,
or maybe it's just the English language. I'd be surprised if that game hasn't sold more than every other. I mean, I'd be surprised if it wasn't the number one selling. So what happened is they're going to pull out this little unit that's just Catan, and it's going to be run by some of the same people who ran it for Mayfair. So it's still going to keep going the way it is. They pulled those people out of Mayfair, and now they work for Asmodee. and it's just its own entity now, but part of Asmodee, which keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and all of a sudden too. I mean, we'd obviously heard of Asmodee; they make great games, and then suddenly they turn into the Incredible Hulk. The thing that concerns me about big companies is big companies often have shareholders to make happy, and sometimes that means, hey, we got to lay some people off, or hey, we have to get rid of anything that's not making money, even if it's innovative and doing cool new things in the hobby. Oh, it doesn't make enough money, so axe it. And so it stifles creativity, it stifles innovation, and then they start turning into, hey, let's make 1,000 Monopoly clones because those make money, and it's terrible.
Yeah.
Let's do that.
Let's move on.
What's next?
So we do this little segment that we call, do we have like an actual name for it? Like On the Table, what's on your table? Where we just kind of talk.
On the table.
Sure, on the table. That's what I put on the sheet anyway. So it's just us talking about what's been on our table, what we've been playing, kind of, I guess, mini reviews or vignettes of games that we've been playing recently. Is that a good word? You like that? Vignette?
Yeah, that was a $2 word.
I know. $2 word and a free podcast. So, talking about value here.
So, what did you pay for?
So I'm going to let you kick this off. And, what's going on?
Sorry,
hold on. My slideshow jumped ahead of me.
Whoa.
Sorry.
Take it easy.
Oh, boy. We're giving it away.
Oh, no.
We're just giving everything away. Here we go.
Should I just shoot forward?
Keep going. Yeah, you're good.
Okay. Bomb Squad Academy has been on my table.
Yeah.
So this is a little... Oh, man. Now I'm seeing Orleans. Okay. So Bomb Squad Academy is a small game that came with Bomb Squad. If you backed Bomb Squad on the Kickstarter, you got Bomb Squad Academy. So I did that.
Right.
And played Bomb Squad Academy, and honestly, I wasn't expecting much. It's kind of it's a small box, and it's not, those games aren't always great.
It's a little throw
and
in.
It felt like an afterthought almost. Like, we'll also do this other game, and we really enjoyed it. It's not earth-shattering, groundbreaking, but we all had fun with it. It's really interesting. You're trying to figure out what other people are going to play. It's a whole game where you're trying to guess what other people are going to play, not blindly, but based on different things. Because you're all trying to disarm these bombs, and you want to get as close as you can to the end because you get a bunch of points, but you don't want the bomb to explode because then you don't get any points. And so you're like, is that guy going to play red? Because if we both play red, there's a good chance that bomb's going to explode. And it's really fun. We enjoyed it. It's a great filler. I think this would be a good non-gamer game, and the components are great, and it fits in one of those little boxes. It's really nice.
That's cool. I have it. I haven't played it yet. But I was really interested in checking it out because, again, it's kind of like a derivative of Bomb Squad. So I'm like, is this a standalone thing? Is it going to work well? Is it going to, hold its own water, I guess? And according to you, the answer is yes.
I've played Bomb Squad, and really, other than the word bomb, they are completely different. They are nothing alike.
Sure.
You are trying to disarm a bomb in both of them, but mechanically and everything else, they're completely separate games.
Nice. So one of the games that's been on my table, we'll just kind of keep jumping ahead here since our slides are moving on us. We got copies of 12 Days from Calliope Games, which is it's a fun little trick-taking game. Have you played this one yet?
I haven't. I got it and just haven't had a chance to.
Yeah.
And now it's after Christmas, so I have to wait a year. No,
yeah.
I'll play it.
I took advantage of holiday gatherings to try to get this one out, and I did. So it plays in 12 rounds, as you may guess, because of 12 Days of Christmas. Makes sense. But it's fun. You every round you're playing for the gift of that day. There's a card for every round, so you kind of flip over this pile of cards, and if you score that day, you win that card, which gives you that amount of points. So the first day is worth 1 point, not a big deal, but as you go, they're worth more points. But the only way to win them is to have the lowest card. So the whole deck is made up of the actual song. So there's one partridge in a partridge in a pear tree. There's two turtle doves, and on and on and on. So the deck is made of a certain amount of cards. But the trick is, at the end of the game, if you have the most of a certain type of card in your hand, you score that many points as well. So if I had the most 12 drummers drumming, I get 12 points. So you're trying to collect cards while also winning tricks during the game. It was really a fun, interesting kind of different take on a trick-taking game, and the art is fabulous. I didn't have time to take pictures of all the cards, but the art is really, really cool. If you're looking at it right now, the box cover is very much all is the style of all the artwork on the cards. So it's really just a gorgeous game.
Nice. I'll have to get that to my table.
You will. So you're up next. What else have you been playing?
Well, I recently traded for a game called Favor of the Pharaoh, which is from Bezzie,
I believe, is what I've been.
Sure, Bezzie Games.
Yes.
It is a dice rolling game. It's based on an old game called To Court a King. It's by Tom Lehman, who did Race for the Galaxy. And it's a dice rolling game. You're trying to roll dice, and thematically, you start as this lowly servant, and you're trying to get a meeting with the pharaoh. And so you're going through all these courtesans in the court to get there. And there's a bunch of dice, and a few of them are custom dice, and there are a bunch of tiles. And I played it with my 7-year-old, and we just loved it. It's really fun, and every game is going to be different because you're setting up the board with different tiles every time, and then even there are little tiles that say, oh, you can only take this one if you get 3 of a kind, or if you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or whatever. And those are double-sided too, with different criteria on the other side. So those will flip over, and you'll get other tiles, and so every game is going to feel completely different. It's very interesting and fun. My one complaint about it is that it's really expensive for what you get, which is why I traded for it. It's $60 MSRP.
Oh, wow.
For dice, only 5 of which are custom. The rest are just
different colors.
Nice dice.
Right.
And then a bunch of cardboard tiles. I mean, that's it. So even if you bought it online, not that we're telling you to do that, but even if you bought it online, it's going to be $40. So I traded for it, and so essentially, the way I'm thinking of it, it was like, I paid postage for it. But anyway, if you can get your hands on a copy for a good price, it's a fun game.
Cool, yeah. Definitely have to check that out. Bezzie has a number of decent titles that I really enjoy, like One Night Ultimate Werewolf, and they're doing One Night Resistance now, and a couple other One Night Vampire, or a few other things like that. So there's some fun games, but I haven't had a chance to play Favor of the Pharaoh.
It is a good one.
Excellent. So it hasn't been on my table, but I have been at a table with Mafia de Cuba, or Cuba. I think you're supposed to say Cuba, like Cuba Gooding Jr.
Show me the money!
Show me the money! Have you heard about this? Have you played this?
I have heard about it, and a friend of mine has played it, not in my group, and he told me about it, and it looks really cool.
It's a very cool, a very streamlined social deduction game where the entire box is, or the entire game is the box. It's a cigar box looking type thing, and inside the box is there'll be 15 diamonds to start, and then there are, depending on how many players, there's a certain number of roll tokens that are in there. So not everybody is going to get a special roll, but you get to choose if you're going to be a special roll or not. So to start the game, the Godfather, whoever starts the game, gets to be the Godfather. And he's going to take 0 to 5 of the 15 diamonds out and put them in his pocket and not tell anybody what he took out. then the next person gets the chance to actually hide one of the rolls. So they can take that out, put it in this little bag, put it in their pocket, and then they also get to select a roll if they want to. And then the box just keeps getting passed around, and you can either take one of the rolls or you can take diamonds and be a thief. And the roles are like, there's a couple of them that you're a loyal mafia member, you're loyal to the Godfather, you're a taxi driver, so you want the person that sits to the right of you to win, whatever their role may be, or you are like a CIA agent and you're trying to bust the Godfather, you're trying to bust the other members of the mafia. So once it all goes around, the Godfather looks in and he sees how many diamonds are left, and he has to guess who took the diamonds. He's trying to get all of his diamonds back. If he does, then he and his faithful win. If not, then the thieves win, and there's all these other different win conditions. And it plays in about 10-15 minutes, depending on how many people are there. But it's really, really interesting. Just the mechanics of it work really well. We had a lot of fun with it. I played as the Godfather, and it is... At first you think, oh, well, this is going to be easy, but it's not. It's so hard because everybody's like telling you one thing, and you're trying to figure out, oh, well, so and so says, oh, I saw this token in it, and there were this many diamonds, and they're trying to give you information, but then you don't know if they're lying to you about that, and so it's really, really interesting. It's a lot of fun.
It sounds unique for sure, like just a different take on the social deduction idea.
Yeah, it totally didn't feel anything like Resistance or Coup or Werewolf or any of those. It was a very unique entry into that genre, so I really enjoyed it for that.
And even though I haven't played it and I have not picked up a copy yet, I saw like one of these, somebody posted, hey, quick, there's a special on the expansion on Amazon. There were like 2 copies left when I logged on. I grabbed one. Nice. And so I have the expansion for a game I've never played and for a game I don't own. Perfect. But when I do, I'm ready to go.
You're going to expand it. You're going to blow it up right away. Awesome.
Right. I really am looking forward to trying that one, though.
Yeah, it's a very cool one. All right, so what else do you got?
So my next one is a game called Fuse, and it is a real-time dice rolling game. And you're like I guess this is a theme, but you're trying to defuse a bomb. And you have 10 minutes.
There are a lot of bomb games out there right now, aren't there?
They're coming out of the woodwork. I don't know what's going on, but it is at least different. It's not like the other Bomb Squad or Bomb Squad Academy. Right. So you have an app that counts down 10 minutes, and you're all rolling dice, and you each have these unique cards that you're flipping over. And every card has unique criteria that need to be put on them. So, I have to get 3 red dice on there. So somebody rolls them all, and then everybody at the table is like, I need a red, or I need a 2, or this or that. And you're all yelling at the same time and trying to grab things. Yeah. And then there are cards that'll come out that'll make you lose a dice, or bad things will happen. And the timer is super annoying. Because it's this British woman going, what are you doing? Why don't you roll better? And things like that. And like kind of mocking you. And you're going to kill us all. And you're like, shut up.
Because it's not frantic enough.
It was crazy. And so the first time we played it, we got destroyed. And we're all like, how are you supposed to beat this thing? And then I guess this is a sign of a good game. You play again and you go, oh, okay, there are ways to do it. And so 1 or 2 times later, we did beat it. And
nice.
So you do get better at it, but at the end of the day, it's still just like frantic dice rolling.
Nice. Yeah, it's funny. I actually haven't heard much about that game at all. So when you were putting it in our show notes, I was like, oh, that looks kind of interesting. So
I think it just came out.
Did it? Okay.
So, yeah, people just got their copies, and so we tried it out.
Nice.
And it was pretty fun.
Nice. So yesterday, I Periscoped, and we just posted the video on YouTube. Tiny Epic Western.
How is that?
It's a prototype stage, but it's launching in a couple days on Kickstarter. Really fun. It's the first of the Tiny Epic series that is pretty close to a standard Euro worker placement game. You know, the Tiny Epic Kingdoms was a derivative of like a 4X game. Tiny Epic Defenders was a co-op, and there's there's a dice game with galaxies. This one is a lot closer to an actual just worker placement. You place a worker, you get a resource. But there's this cool twist where all of your locations, when you set up the game, you deal poker cards in between all of your locations. And each player is also dealt 2 poker cards, and they choose which ones to keep. So after you've placed all your workers, then you go around and resolve the locations by who has the best poker hand with the 2 cards that are on either side of that location. So it's a little bit like a Texas Hold'em kind of thing. And then that also determines who wins the town hall. And the town hall allows you to move an industry forward. And as you're going through and resolving these things, you get to buy buildings. And the buildings all have icons that correlate to those industries. So if you control the most of those at the end of the game, you win bonus points by which of those industries got moved forward the furthest, fastest. So it's it feels like a Tiny Epic game. You know, it's got modular boards, it's got player character sheets, you know, you got the little trackers on them that you track your resources with. All of those things really kind of hint towards that feel of the Tiny Epic games, but it is, again, just completely fresh and new. So I really, really enjoyed it, and I think I haven't found a reason why you would say in any of the Tiny Epic games, oh, I have this one, I don't need to get this one. They all are unique and stand alone. Right. You may say, oh, I don't like co-op games. Okay, well then don't get Defenders. Get whatever else. But if you like the genre that it's in, it's a nice, solid little game.
Right, they're not redundant within the line.
Yeah, exactly. And
so, I know you've only played a couple of times, and this is a prototype, but where would you put it, just off the cuff here, in the lineup which is your favorite game?
Well, my favorite one is Galaxies, which is also, as I said before, my favorite dice rolling game. It's probably a close tie for second with Kingdoms. Maybe a little better.
Okay.
Defenders is my least favorite of them, which I know is your favorite of them. But
Except no, I've played Galaxies now.
Okay.
And I think I like Galaxies the best.
Yeah, I would agree with that. It's a solid little game. I really, really enjoy it.
Oh yeah.
This was probably a close second, and I mean, Tiny Epic Kingdoms was my game of the year a year or two ago, so I really loved that one. But this one might actually be a little better. This was probably more accessible to non-gamers, although it's a little dense. The learning curve's a little hard to grab, but it's definitely, I think it's more accessible than Tiny Epic Kingdoms is. I'll say that.
Cool. I'm looking forward to playing it.
Yeah, it's fun, and it hits Kickstarter in 3 days, January 11th, Monday. So, and you can find very soon the written review that I wrote that gives you full description of gameplay and all my thoughts and opinions on theologyofgames.com. Very soon.
Very cool.
Cool.
All right. Next game for me is Orleans.
Oh, look, it's
Orleans.
right over your shoulder. They can't see that because we're looking at slides.
Oh, right. Okay. Well, everyone else is out there, the one person. Orleans. We tried this out, and it is kind of, it's not a deck builder. They call it a bag builder, I think, because you're buying chips to put into a bag, and then every turn you're drawing out a certain number of these chips and then doing more things with them to get more chips to put into the bag. So it's just you're kind of creating an engine, but it's an engine that's interesting because you're not guaranteed to pull anything out that you need.
Nice.
It's possible. Like, let's say you only have one white, I think they're farmers in the game, one farmer in there for some reason. It could be that every single time you pull this out, you never, ever draw the farmer. So it's a little strange. I mean, I've never seen that happen, and there are other ways to get around it. There are monks that are wild cards and things like that. But we really enjoyed it. There's a whole lot going on. It takes up a ton of space because there are all these different boards and things going on, but we really liked it. It was really interesting and fun choices to be made, and I got crushed at it. So, but I still wanted to play again, and I enjoyed it, so I guess that's the sign of a good game.
That's cool.
I got seriously destroyed.
Yeah, so I have this one, and it's another one that I'm dying to play. I've watched some gameplay videos of it. It looks, I don't know. It looks like there's a lot of synergy between what you do. Like you said, there's that engine building thing happening, but it looks like there's a little chaos mixed in too. So that sounds fun to me.
Yeah, it is frustrating if you pull it out and you go, oh, I can't do that whole thing I was planning to do this turn. So you're like, okay, I guess I'll just do the best I can.
Right.
And so some people are really going to not like that. But and there were times I didn't like it. But at the end of the day, I was like, oh, that's a pretty cool game.
Time for Plan B, I guess.
Yeah.
Perfect. Cool. All right, let's keep moving along. I got to finally play Colt Express. Wow, that's a fun game.
Yeah.
I think the components might be my favorite part, like the little train cars that you set up, and then they just have like the decorative landscape pieces just because.
Right. No
Why
other
not,
reason but
you
to
know?
just look cool on the table.
Yeah. I thought that was really fun. And I didn't put this in our show, but I also, the same night I played Alhambra and I played Colt Express, and I crushed everybody. Both games. I was like 20 points ahead in Alhambra and a good almost 1,000 points ahead in Colt Express.
Wow.
It was my night. I was on fire. But yeah, it's so cool. Kind of a programming game, I guess you would say, where everybody's playing their cards and programming them and making moves, and as they get flipped over, you resolve your actions in turn. So there's this whole, okay, is he going to punch me, or am I going to be able to move, or is that person moving here to punch me, or should I get... So as you're watching people play cards, and some of them are face up and some of them are face down, it really... I don't know. It was a lot of fun. I'm probably going to pick that one up to play with my kids too.
Yeah, we played over the Christmas break.
Yeah.
And it was not my first time, but it was the first time for the rest of the family. And everybody enjoyed it, except for my wife, who, for a number of hands, never got any loot cards, which is my one complaint for the game is the fact that, like, that's just going to happen, and that person does not have as good a chance to win at all.
Yeah. Now... Yeah, we had a few times where that would happen, where it's like, oh, I just didn't get what I needed. But now, if I understand correctly, you can, instead of playing a card, you can draw 3 cards out of your deck. But you have to do it before your last turn, or else it doesn't help you.
Right, and she did that a few times, and I remember once she did it, and she still didn't get one.
Oh.
So
It's brutal.
At the end of the game, she kind of glared at me and was like, I never got what I need. She admitted she had fun, but at the same time, it was like, just a dud for her because of that. Yeah, but the kids had a great time. My youngest is not good at programming yet, so we'd flip it over and we'd resolve it, and he'd go, I punched somebody, and we're like, you're not with anybody. Oh, man! And that just happened all the time. He would program something and it wouldn't work out.
Yeah.
I get to loot. You're not in the car with anything, baby. I'm sorry.
Right.
Oh, man!
You gotta move. Yeah, you gotta move where the loot is.
Right.
That's funny.
But it was really cute watching him play that, and he still had a great time. So.
That's cool. That's very cool. So you've got one more for this segment?
My last one's a quick one. We finished our campaign of Pandemic Legacy.
Excellent.
And I should have counted, but I want to say we played 18 games. You're going to play at least 12, and at most 24, and we played right around 18. So you can figure out we lost about probably half our games or something like that.
Yeah.
Just full of surprises. you were always like, what is this next thing going to reveal? What cool thing is going to happen? And we had a good time, and we got to the end, and we won our last game. I think it was at the beginning of December. So you're just like, we went out on a high note, and it was fun. Really enjoyed it.
So you actually saved the planet then? Is that, or?
I'm not going to say because it's only season 1, but I will say
that's true.
That things happened, and we didn't have to open up. There's one box in the game that says only open if you lose 4 games in a row, and I don't know what's in it because I think we lost 3 games in a row. I don't want to know.
Yeah.
So yeah, we didn't find out.
That's cool. Yeah, I have not. Nobody I know owns the game, and eventually I'll play it. But I'm very jealous that you actually got through the whole thing. So,
it took us a while.
Yeah. So I'm watching our stream here, and we're dropping a lot of frames, but I am recording locally too, so we'll just plow ahead here, and we'll post it online. Hopefully I can clean it up. Anyway, that's a little technical
It's an experiment.
update.
We're just trying this and seeing if it works.
My wife's probably watching Netflix upstairs, which is probably taking up some of our bandwidth. Who knows?
Gilmore Girls!
There's probably a lot more that I have to learn about this. She does watch Gilmore Girls, actually, so it's very possible.
My wife just binge watched the entire series. She'd never seen it before.
I think she finished it a little while ago, so I haven't found her watching them for a while. So she's moved on to something else. But anyway, a little like you said, this is experiment number 1 with live broadcasting. So we'll see how it pans out when it's all said and done, and we go back and watch and learn. So we have another segment coming up that we call, watch this, Fire and Ice. Look at that logo. Isn't that sweet?
I can't see it. I'm on the 7-second delay. I'll see it in a second.
You're about to see it. Here it comes. 2,
I can't wait.
Oh, is it there? Almost.
No, it's clear. Is it? Man, this has got to be great for the viewers watching me wait for this thing to pop up.
Even better for the listeners who are listening on the
there
podcast.
It is. I see it.
There it is.
Very nice. All right, this is a segment that's where we talk about a game that's on fire for us that we're really enjoying, and then one that we're kind of ice cold on right now.
I like how I didn't capitalize ice.
The editor noticed, and he was just going to let it go.
Right. I'm going to say I'm not the editor of the site, so there's that. So yeah, we talk about a little bit about games that are on fire for us and games that are not so much on fire for us. So oh, that's right. I'm up on first on this one. So my fire game is, we talked about it just a little bit ago, Mafia de Cuba. Just a fun game, and it's in a genre that I really like. So I love, I don't know why, but I love games that make me paranoid about everybody that's at the table. It's a lot of fun because you learn so much about people too when you play a game like that. It's like, oh, that's how you lie. But I don't know. It's really enjoyable, and it, like I said, it was really clean. There were no cumbersome rules. There were no, oh well, we have to do this, and there's no housekeeping, and like, you want to accuse somebody, you say, I think you're a thief. Give me my diamonds back, and that's the game. You know, it's all about just picking up on those tells and what people are doing. So that's my fire game.
Yeah, that's the funny thing about social deduction games is that there are people I've played Resistance with now for years, and I'm like, you've become a better liar. And I mean that. Like, when they first started out, I could spot them a mile away. That guy's the spy.
Right, the shifty eyes and the shifty...
They'd be like, how did you know? And I'm like, I can just tell when you're lying to me.
Their
and now they're getting better.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, they have tells. And now it's like, you really snookered me. You're getting better at this. And I don't know if it's good or bad, but it's good for them.
to be had there. Is that
Yeah.
Is that a good thing, or is that? I don't know. I'm sure there's worse things out there, right?
Yes. Than lying.
Well.
Anyway,
your fire
my
game
fire
is...
game, Roll for the Galaxy. I haven't played a ton of it, but I really think, I don't know if I like it better than Race for the Galaxy, but all I know about Race for the Galaxy is it's super, to me, it is obtuse. I have such a hard time. I'll sit there and go, oh, what do these symbols mean again? And I know some people are like, you're just dumb.
It's
okay,
very
fine, I am dumb.
Yes.
Yes, I have a hard time figuring those things out and remembering what everything does. And for some reason, Roll for the Galaxy just seems to streamline that and make it more approachable. And I think it's a game that you could bring out with, I don't know about non-gamers, maybe non-gamers that had played a few and are ready for the next step.
Right.
But I don't think you could do that at all with Race for the Galaxy. There's just, oh, you're just going to hand me a bunch of cards with symbols on them and we get to look everything up?
Right.
No, I would never do that.
Yeah, it is cumbersome to play Race for the Galaxy. I have not played Roll for the Galaxy, but I was just talking with a friend of mine when we were playing Tiny Epic Western the other day. Race for the Galaxy, like, I own it, but I can't think of the last time I pulled it out because it takes a certain type of gamer and a certain type of group to want to play that. So, I mean, it's not a terrible game. I actually really enjoyed it the few times that we've sat down and dug it out. But there's just something clunky about it, something a little too heavy about it. So,
and Roll obviously brings in the luck of dice, but also it's just a really pretty game. Those dice are beautiful and colorful, and I think it's something that you could just pull out with next step non-gamers and go, hey, let's try this out, and I think they'd enjoy it.
Yeah.
So
do they glow like they do on the box?
The expansion just what?
Do they glow like they do on the box cover there, like the light coming?
Probably if you're playing at Chernobyl.
Okay.
But I wouldn't advise that. Yeah. So the expansion just came out. I have a friend of mine has it. We haven't played it yet, but I'm really looking forward to trying out the expansion.
Yeah. Cool. So the opposite side of fire is
lowercase ice.
Lowercase ice.
We feel.
Although, look at this. In 7 seconds you can look at this. I capitalized it on the special slide for.
Did you do it on the fly, or was it like that?
No. I did it correctly on that one. So.
Oh, okay.
Well,
I was thinking that we feel so little about these games, like we're so cold on them that we won't even capitalize.
We're not
ice.
even going to use proper grammars on that.
Right. So my ice is Fuse. I know I said that we had a good time playing it the other night, but for me, I've never liked real-time games because they stress me out. I'm a thinker. That sounds weird. Not a thinker, but like I'll sit in a meeting and I'm the guy in the corner processing everything that's happening. I don't talk very much in meetings.
Right.
Sometimes to my detriment. Like people are like, speak up, Scott. And I'm like, oh, no, I'll send you an email later.
Right.
Because that's how I process is I'm the guy, I'll think about it and then I'll tell you about it later. And so if we're playing a game, I don't suffer from analysis paralysis at all. But I'm also like, I want to be able to look at the board and think how things are doing. But when you're just rolling dice and I need 2s and 3s and what's happening? And it just stresses me out. And so it's a good game. We did have fun. But for me, it's like, I'm not going to pull that out very often. And I'm probably not going to buy it because I never want to go, hey, who wants to be Psycho for 10 minutes? Huh? Yeah, that'll be fun, right?
Right.
Even if the other people would enjoy it. But for me, it's just, so that's my ice. Not because it's a bad game, but just for me, it's stressful.
I've got a weird relationship with real-time games. Like, I think they're fun, and I think it's an interesting thing. Like, I haven't played it yet, but I've seen people play Zombie 15. The game plays in 15 minutes, and it's a survival, zombie fun game, and it looks really cool. Damage Report I really enjoy. Like, it is super frantic and fast, and it's really, really hard.
Yeah.
But, like, the first time I played Bomb Squad, I played it with my mom, and I love my mom, but I often have to teach my mom the game every turn. whatever we're
Right.
playing. Like, I have to remind her of rules and after rules, and there's no time for that. Like in Bomb Squad,
Right.
there's a bomb that's going to go off. I don't have time to tell you what the actions are. But and that's with anybody. Like, if you're going to play a real-time game, you have to make sure that they have a firm grasp of the rules. And if there's
Right.
if the rules are too dense, it's really going to bog it down. So you have to make sure that they're ready for that, and they're going to grab a hold of the rules. And we need to talk about strategy, not about what you can do.
Right.
So I totally understand that side of it. My ice game, I don't like necessarily have one in particular, but it's more of a genre. It's any storytelling game where any element of the game is you coming up with stories. And it's kind of weird. Like, we have a few of them. Like, you've probably seen story cubes, which are just really just like a storytelling vehicle. And it's fine, and it's great. And then we have a game called Story Wars that my boys picked out for me for my birthday a year or two ago. I don't know. Like, I enjoy the story of games, like the theme of games. I don't necessarily want to have to sit down and create the theme and the story of the game, if that makes any sense. So,
Yeah.
there are times when it's fun, and we've had a blast making up goofy stories around some games. But lately, I've just kind of been like, I kind of shy away from that when that comes up. So, I'd say that's my ice at the moment.
One of our very first Kickstarter previews, as I recall, was a storytelling game. What was the name?
Roos.
Roos.
Yes.
I knew it was like Muse or
Yeah,
Fuse,
that
not
was
Fuse.
the one where you had to make up a story of why you weren't the murderer, I believe.
Right.
And then if you were,
Yeah, I think that's right.
if you ended up losing, you had to make up some grand story of why you were the murderer.
Yes, that's right.
So, yeah. And I think storytelling games are very much that same thing where it has to be like the same, like a really good group. Like, I know there are some people I play games with that they would be like, no, this is dumb. Like, I don't even want to bother. And there are other people that would just totally get into it and just run with it. So it's a taste thing. So right now, it's a little bad taste, but you know, it'll change, I'm sure.
I'm with you. It's kind of subjective, like, and it's not doesn't play to some people's strengths. Like, hey, come up with a story. Like, I could do that easily. I don't even necessarily want to, but I could.
Right.
But some people would be, are you kidding me? I don't want to have to do that. Why would I do that? And so, yeah, I
Sure.
can see that.
I just realized when we're doing video, if I'm on video, you can see me when I take a drink of water. So there it is.
Which you just did.
I did.
I'm gonna find out here in a couple of seconds.
Yeah,
that
you
did
will.
that. And then-
It's catching up. So
oh, there he goes. Good.
we have one final segment for this trial run with like 17,000 dropped frames and all kinds of craziness going on. We'll get it sorted out, but it's I don't know, it's been fun. I think the video side's a little fun, a little extra prep work, but definitely worth it. I don't know. We'll talk later maybe.
Yeah, but you have to look at our ugly mugs.
That's true. But you can see your impressive game collection, or at least part of it.
Yeah, this is only a fraction of it.
I think one of these days we're going to discuss the psychology behind board game video reviewers and the need for them to stand in front of their board game collection as they give a review. Like,
I can tell you my psychology really quickly.
mine's behind me, you know, like it's there.
I can see it.
I'm guilty of it. I mean, I've done plenty of those where I'm sitting in front of a shelf or whatever. I don't know. Go ahead. What you were going to say? Maybe should we save this for next time?
No, because it's not even really worth.
No. Okay. All right.
Segment. For me, we're in my basement,
Yeah.
and it's unfinished. Oh,
man.
I'm losing my...
Falling apart.
Oh, my goodness. So my basement is unfinished. So the rest of it's
Right.
like, insulation, and there's a furnace over there and the water heater. So where else am I going to do it? But in front of the games that are already set up.
In front of
and
your
it's also
fireplace.
thematic to what we're talking. What?
In front of your fireplace, or... Yeah, maybe not.
Well, then I'd have to be upstairs where everyone else is.
Yeah.
But now I can be down in the dungeon here.
Down in the dungeon.
Dad and his weirdo
Anyway.
board games.
Right? All right, so let's move on. One of these days, I gotta learn more about this, but we're gonna have like theme music for all this stuff too. It's gonna be sweet. So, are you ready? You ready for filling?
Yeah, I was looking around for an instrument, but I don't see anything.
Mine are in the other room.
Like,
so.
not even a kazoo or anything.
No. Yeah, my guitars are in
Ugh.
the other room. So, anyway, are you ready for fill in the blank?
I am ready for fill in the blank, fill in the blank.
Hey,
everybody,
it's
it's
fill in the blank. It's time to fill in the... What do you see this slide? It looks nice.
I'm sure it is.
Anyway.
While I'm waiting for it, I'm going to go ahead and ask you the first question.
You do that.
Jeremiah,
Yeah.
what is your 2016 New Year's gaming resolution?
I don't often make New Year's resolutions other than like exercise and things like that. Anyway, no, my New Year's gaming resolution is to game. I know that's like super cheesy, but I really hope to get more games on the table and explore more of Theology of Games. So, like we're doing tonight. What else is there for Theology of Games? And because that is, in my life, that's an extension of my gaming. So, I want to game more and bring more people. Like, I have a lot of friends that are like, dude, you got to call me when you game. And I'm always like, yeah. I mean, game nights for me are very typically like spur of the moment. Like, hey, I have a few friends that I'm like, hey, dude, what are you doing tonight? And they're like, oh yeah, we can game. So I want to expand that into more people. Like, I have some really good friends that are gamers, and for whatever reason, our schedules don't always work out, or whatever the reason is. I hope to expand that more into more people. So that's a really long answer for that little bit of space up there.
No, that's fine. That's good. Yeah, we've talked about this. It's frustrating for you without a regular game group.
Yeah.
And for me, it's just I've been meeting weekly for 12 years now. So it's just every week I'm playing new games, and getting the games played is not a problem for me.
Right. Whereas for me, it's like, come on, guys. Although I do have some friends who are very, very not just cool with it, but very excited to play new games. So whenever I'm like, hey, guess what just came in the mail? They're like, dude, yes, let's go play that. So so that's always cool. Yeah. All right, Scott, what would be your 2016 New Year's gaming resolution? I totally just blew that.
Revolution. I'm going to overthrow. No, I would like to
take down Asmodee.
No, we do not say that.
I mean, we love them. They're so nice. Anyway.
Ticked off the Hulk. I would like to get caught back up with Lord of the Rings, the card game.
Oh,
I know that's super specific.
That's my second resolution.
Oh, really? Because
no,
this week it was spurred by... I was looking at the Fantasy Flight news piece, and they said, oh, here's, they're starting another cycle of games. They kind of they put out a deluxe expansion
and then
that's
they run like
kind of a thematic. Right. And it usually introduces some mechanism in it.
Yeah.
And I think I'm behind 2 full cycles on that, I think. But at any rate, we just saw this new one, and the idea looks really cool, where you're laying out all of the location cards, and it's basically like an island that you're trying to get through. And so you're moving your piece along the island, and just every time I see the artwork for that, I'm like, this game is so cool. Why am I? And part of the reason is because I have so many LCGs I'm trying to juggle, keep up with, and this is falling by the wayside. And I just said, okay, I want to get back. I've always loved the game. I have quite a bit of it, and I want to get back and get back in and get caught up with it. So
yeah,
that is my resolution.
I'm definitely like 2, maybe even 3 of like the deluxe expansions behind. But it's such a good game. It's funny because right before that news came out about this new cycle, I was talking with one of my buddies who I've played all of them with up to the point that we are at, and we're just like, dude, we got to play that again. It's been a drought since we've had that on the table, but it's so fun. I mean, it's one of my all-time favorite games, not just LCG. It's like of all time. It's such a fun and great game. So hopefully that'll, hopefully I'll follow you in that and get even close to being caught up. Get a few more of those adventures down.
Yeah.
So we've got 2 more fill in the blanks. The next one being, right now, my kid's favorite game is...
2 kids, 2 different games.
Yes.
My oldest, he is 11. I always thought he was going to be my gamer buddy.
Yeah.
And he is not turning out to be my gamer buddy.
No.
At all. He, hey, you want to play a game? Nah, I'm good. He'd rather read or do any of thousands of other things. But sometimes he will play with us. And when we played Colt Express, he got done. He said, "Dad, that was a really fun game." And I was like, "Oh, maybe there's a chance." But probably not.
Yes, it was.
But still, so tonight when I asked him, what their favorite games were, he said Colt Express. Right now is his favorite game.
Nice.
He really had a good time, and it was exciting for them. The program. I mean, there's so many good mechanisms in that thing. I know people bag on it because of the luck of the draw, and including my wife. But there are really cool mechanisms where, this is face up and this is face down, and so I kind of know what's happening, but I don't completely know. It's a really solid game, and so he loves that game.
Yeah.
Right now, and then my youngest is on a DC deck building kick.
Nice.
You and I reviewed this years ago.
Yeah, a long time ago.
It was one of our early ones, and so he's 7 now, and he's about to be 8, and he's getting to the age where we can start pulling some of these other ones out that he's never played. So I thought, okay, let's try out the DC deck building game. He loves it. He wants to play that every day, all the time.
Nice.
He's good at it. He has won every single game we've played, and I'm not like going easy on him. He just beats me, and I'm like,
great.
I don't know what that means. Either I'm bad, or there's more luck in this, or I'm bad, or anyway.
He's good.
He's good.
There's that option,
he is good.
right?
He makes it's cool watching where he'll make a decision, and I know, he's thinking through maybe a couple steps ahead, or he purposely waited to do this because then he could do this, and to see the wheels turning in him and making those decisions, you're like, okay, well maybe this one's going to be my gamer buddy, and I'll have some other hobbies with my older kid.
Right.
So, Colt Express, DC deck build.
It always amazes me how different my 2 sons are. They're 2 years apart, but they're like night and day. And I'm like, how did what? Anyway, that's another discussion for another
amazing.
Day. My kids, we can't. I saw this question on our show sheet after they were in bed, so they were asleep. But I know what their answers would be, or at least I think I know. Our youngest has been loving Bears, which is a dice game from Fireside Games, who does Castle Panic and other stuff. Bears it's a really cool dice rolling game, and so it's all about shooting bears and running away from bears, or trying to sleep through a bear attack and hope you don't get eaten, and so it's a fun game. It plays really quick. It was one that I taught my wife, and she was like, "Hey, this is fun. I can learn this without being annoyed by the time you're done explaining it to me." So that was a win. And then my oldest keeps asking me to play Burgle Brothers. He loves it. So just about any time we talk about playing games, Burgle Brothers comes up. So it's a fun game. We've talked about it. We talked about it actually our last time we talked on a podcast. Our review will be coming soon too, and it's a fun co-op
there's a
game.
preview on the site. It is super fun and thematic. It's one of my favorite co-ops now.
I really like it because everything makes thematic sense in it too. Like all of the tiles, all of the abilities, everything that happens in it makes sense. So when you're playing it, you're like, I don't feel like I'm getting cheated by the game because that's what would happen in this situation. So really enjoyed that. All right, we have one final fill in the blank, but this fill in the blank is for you, not you, Scott. I'm trying to point.
You,
not you,
dear listeners, readers.
You. What is it? What I want to see from Theology of Games in 2016 is... Do you want to see more videos? Do you want to see more experimental live broadcasts? Do you want to see more Periscope? More reviews? More Kickstarter news? More, I don't know, more interpretive dance? More...
Please don't say that.
You can say whatever you want. That doesn't mean you're going to get it.
Right. But we really do want to know. We would love, I mean, not that, if one person votes for us to do this, that's what we're going to do. But we would, we're trying all these different things, but if we get this consensus where everyone's like, oh, we really love that you guys do, I come to you for my Kickstarter news, or I love to see this from you guys. Well, that really helps us decide, because there's only a finite amount of time for us to do everything. So we need to prioritize, and if we feel like just the two of us.
Just the two of us.
So,
copyright infringement. Anyway.
Just the Sue of... that's terrible. So, we would love to know what you want to see more of, what you would like to see new, what is working, what is not working. Just be brutally honest with us. If there's something you hate or something that we do and you hate the way we do it, whatever, just tell us. It's not going to hurt our feelings.
Let us have it.
But we'll be fine. But we really do want to hear it.
Yeah, we do. And just let us know what you can comment on the blog. You can comment on YouTube. You can email us at theologyofgames@gmail.com. You can hit us up on our Facebook wall, tweet at us, Instagram at us. I mean, it's pretty hard to not find us. So anywhere you want to fill in that blank, let us know.
Please. So,
cool.
That is our experiment.
That's it. Experiment number 1 is done. Hey, like we said, fill in that blank. Let us know what you think. Let us know what you would like more from us. But also, we'd love to know what you think about this whole video thing that we're trying out with this podcast. And if you're listening, this is still available on iTunes. We're going to take this audio and populate our iTunes feed as well. But we figured, why not go for something a little different and a little new and see what happens. So that's that.
Thanks for tuning in and listening now or later or whenever you do. And we will be back as soon as possible with another podcast. And soon, probably this coming week, we will be giving our top 10 games of 2015. Yes. Not necessarily ones that came out in 2015, but ones we played in 2015.
Ones that are new to us in 2015.
Right.
So, we should probably put that list together a little more solid.
We have some, but not many.
Yeah, it'll be coming out probably, today's Friday, so next week sometime I would imagine we'll have that wrapped up, and we'll make a big stink about it, and hopefully you'll enjoy it and agree with us, or you won't, but that's cool too. Cool. That is it for experiment number 1. thanks so much for joining us. I am Jeremiah Iiiiiceeee, and he is...
I'm Scott Firestone. And thanks for tuning in. We'll talk to you later.
Peace out. We'll see you later.
Bye.
You've been listening to the Theology of Games podcast with Jeremiah Iiiiiceeee and Scott Firestone. If you enjoyed this episode, we'd appreciate your subscription to the podcast and your review on iTunes. Thanks for listening. Have a blessed day, and until next time, get a game on the table.
I think I built in a 7-second delay in case like you swear or something.
I got it.